There's a new report out today in Politico claiming there's a raging debate among Romney campaign advisors over whether to keep going after President Obama on Libya, whether to focus on the economy. Now, the White House has been on the defense over reports of security and intelligence failures in Benghazi before the terror attack.
That is preposterous and really offensive to suggest that. As information was received from the intelligence community, it was distributed. This president's record on terrorism takes a backseat to no one.
Meantime, in a Wall Street Journal op-ed, Romney wrote, in Syria, tens of thousands of innocent people have been slaughtered. In Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood has come to power, and the country's peace treaty with Israel hangs in balance. In Libya, our ambassador was murdered in a terrorist attack. These developments are not, as President Obama says, mere bumps in the road. And joining me live now, former State Department Middle East officer Joel Rubin. Joel, first of all, is it a mistake to even try to group these things? You have the investigation going on in Libya as to what happened there. Then you have Paul Ryan today going in on the president regarding Afghanistan and the number of troops on the ground. It sounds as if they're trying to put all of these things in a big, pot, hoping that something picks up steam.
Thanks for having me, Tamara.
Sure.
It really does feel like issues are being thrown against the wall, and they want to see what sticks. This issue of politicizing the murder of an American ambassador abroad is a new low. It's not something that should be done. When Mitt Romney came out early before the president to announce his view that it was America that was responsible for this killing, that went too far. Clearly, Republicans are not comfortable. Even George Will has said that President Romney would not have prevented the violence in the Middle East that we saw. So this is a mixed bag, and it's dangerous territory to enter.
Let me play what Senator John McCain said this morning on msnbc. Can we play it, please?
The White House line is, you've heard the president say it, Osama bin Laden's dead, al-Qaeda's done, everything's fine in the Middle East. This obviously contradicts, these series of events obviously contradicts that campaign slogan.
So Senator McCain saying, again, reiterating what Republicans have said, that this is some kind of campaign slogan. But let me just focus or tighten in on Libya. What are the fair questions at this point regarding what happened there? We saw David Plouffe with David Gregory yesterday. What are the fair questions?
It's fair to understand exactly what the threat assessment was before the attack and to understand what preparations were made. And these are the kinds of questions that should be asked. The bipartisan Senate Foreign Relations Committee letter from late last week came out with that type of a request. And the intelligence community, the State Department, they are certainly most interested in ensuring that nothing like this happens again. So that needs to be understood. Apparently, there was an effective rebuff to an attack in June by local forces.
Correct.
That gave confidence to the Americans. That may have been overconfidence, but we'll have to see what happens.
But based on the information available right now, you're saying it may have been overconfidence. It seems that at least the evidence is pointing to the fact that it was, hence the reason those Americans are part of the reason that lives were lost. I mean, the main question so many people have at this point, Joel, is why wasn't security tighter at that consulate?
And that is the question that needs to be answered. Ambassador Tom Pickering is leading a group that Secretary Clinton has called on to get to the bottom of this. Nobody, again, has more of an interest in resolving this issue to protect the future ambassadors and the current ambassadors from threats like this than the State Department and the U.S. government. And it's going to be looked at. And certainly Chris Stevens, who was out there, also was reading the assessments and understanding the threats. He knew that this was a difficult environment to operate in as well. It's a horrible tragedy that took place. It's something that we hope and pray will never happen again. But to make political hay and gain out of it, it really doesn't help support the efforts of our people abroad.
Quickly, I've got to ask you, though, were you disappointed in the handling of, Ambassador Rice came on with the information she had available at the time. You have Congressman King of New York wanting her to resign right now. Paul Ryan said in a new interview he would not go that far. Again, a lot of moving parts, but were you at all disappointed in how this at least was handled, if there is in fact now an opening for political gain or genuine questions here?
Well, I think that the attempt to make political gain out of this came forward before any facts were known. It's clear that this is a strategy that's being pursued by the Romney team, and unfortunately, they're continuing to look for more reasons to make an argument that President Obama's foreign policy, which is hands down much more popular than any recent president in time, that foreign policy is not being effective, and the president has a clear advantage in the campaign on this issue.
Joel Rubin, thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you.